The Block is making a tree change, and the official Block podcast is where we drill into the details. New episodes every Monday, thanks to Simmons, the great Australian builder. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
9 podcasts.
Hello.
Let's go! Oh my God!
Mate, I've never seen this.
It's a lot.
Hello and welcome to the official Block podcast. I'm Shelley Craft. Bathrooms on the block are notoriously difficult. Delivering 2 of them in just 3 weeks, well, that is a whole other level.
Planning bathrooms is hard. Planning a bathroom in a day is even harder.
Buyers rank the master ensuite higher than almost any other room, and our blockheads sure felt the pressure.
This week was literally madness.
Beyond madness.
Full on crazy, challenging.
There were tiles, more tiles, and yep, that's right, major tile troubles.
Tiles.
I need to know what's going on 100% with these tiles.
But even the 11th hour tile trauma wasn't able to knock the bathroom kings off the throne. Later on in the podcast, all hail Omar and Oz.
Omar and Oz are on their way to becoming the bathroom kings.
First up though, fresh from dealing with more nonsense with the sconces,
What is it with this series about sconces that they're so high they make no difference?
award-winning designer Shaynna Blaze.
Look at that. It's stunning. That's phenomenal.
Make sure you tap the follow or subscribe button and never miss a moment of the official Block podcast, thanks to Simmons Homes. Simmons, the great Australian builder. Award-winning designer, block judge extraordinaire, and a bona fide Macedon Ranges tree changer local herself, Shaynna Blaze. So nice to finally have you on the podcast.
Oh, this is so cool. I'm really excited.
It is really cool. I'm having a great time because I love offering our true blockheads, the ones that are tuning in, a little bit more in-depth information. I know it's a reality show. I know we show as much as we possibly can. But, you know, there is a lot that goes on that can't make it to air, or there would be a 24/7 Block channel, wouldn't there? Which is another idea we might discuss later.
Well, and that's the thing, because the block does go virtually 24/7. And, you know, the things that don't make it, you know, people say, oh, this was left out and, you didn't talk about that. And it's like, well, yeah, it did. There's only so much you can do.
Yes, and there's a lot of watching paint dry as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
So with any renovation.
Exactly.
We saw this beautiful glimpse of the home that you have created in the Macedon Ranges itself, and I think I can see a little bit of it in the background there. There's a beautiful exposed brick that you've got there, looks divine. Tell us a little bit about your tree change. What encouraged you to make that dramatic transfer from the city to the country?
I've been looking for a long time, and it was mainly just as an escape from the city life. Like, you know, when I first started looking, I was travelling all around the country and just felt like coming home to a suburban home all the time just didn't feel right. I just needed that piece of tranquility and a piece of escape. So it was more just a getaway of something like that. But then, you know, it turned into something. I bought the house to make a movie, and then we held on to it, and then realised that going for acreage with the type of lifestyle that I have was not a smart move, because I wouldn't have time for the maintenance, and I don't want to work on the maintenance on that. So it's all about the house. The house literally fills the whole piece of land.
But you're still a part of this beautiful local community, and they are very tight-knit little communities, aren't they?
And I think that's the great thing about it. Like, you know, I'm literally, you know, 5 steps from the botanical gardens. I've got the Campaspe River. We've got beautiful boutique shops. But the community is something that I've heard about, but I've never lived in a country environment. And I was actually really taken back how incredibly giving they are, and just want to give their advice, but also they want their town to be alive. So they're really happy for people to come in and show them the ropes, what's here, what's there, what's, you know, what you do, and then stand back. They haven't been invasive at all. And I treasure the fact that they've allowed me to have my privacy, which is incredible.
Oh, I bet they've stepped up in the fashion stakes though, knowing that you're in town. A little bit more pressure to frock up for your morning coffee.
There's a lot of beautiful boutiques there. So, you know, it's all country boutiques. So I need to get a pair of knee-high leather riding boots. even though I don't ride, but I
It
think I
doesn't
need to
matter.
get that.
It doesn't matter. Equestrian
illusion.
fashion, absolutely. Eco, as in equestrian fashion, must be high on the list.
I love it. I love it.
I think for more reason than just living there, you're dead set on these contestants really having a good think about who the buyer is. And I think it's even more important this year than ever before. You know, if you're buying in a suburb, chances are you've been drawn there for the local school particularly, or what that neighbourhood has to offer. If you're making that move to the country, you know, I'm really trying to drive home to these contestants week in and week out to think about their buyer, how they're going to function out there. Is it their family home? Is someone commuting every day? Are they only coming on the weekends? And I'm seeing this play out in a bit of frustration with the judges, that perhaps they're not really thinking about the end game or the auction just yet. They're just, you know, trying to create beautiful rooms week in and week out.
I think the brief is much harder this year because, as you said, there's so many different types of people that would buy it, so many different layers of families, couples, people downsizing, even though they're not, you know, it's a bigger property than they have. People might be doing a hobby farm. You know, it's 10 acres. There's a lot you can do. Are you going to use it as a property to create a business? Are you going to create a ready-made business for somebody? There's so many options, and I that's the thing coming into this. It's not just about creating rooms, it's how does this room fit into the whole scheme of things. And on top of that is, you know, they have these traditional homes, and anybody that knows a country property, if you get a traditional home as a gift, you work with it. You don't strip it bare. You know, if you're starting as a piece of land and you're going to do an incredibly beautiful modern eco environment, well, that's the theme, but this isn't. And so that's what I'm finding, like, you know, well, you know, that's a bit harsh. Well, it's like, no, that's the reality. That's the reality of the reality.
And you'd think it would make it easier for them to go, great, I've got this, you know, old home, this old section. It's giving me a very clear direction on what I should be doing. And yet they seem a little bit more lost, wrapped up in that contemporary country brief that they have been given, than if they just stepped back and had a look what was already there.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think they're overwhelmed with the size of the property. They're overwhelmed with the project that's ahead of them.
Welcome to the block, I would say.
Pretty much. And it's just one of those things like, you know, the block has been around for a long time. Do your research, and other than Rachel and Ryan, they had no chance of any research. You know, the thing is that the tree change and the country change, there are certain things, and some people say, I would just want contemporary, but you're in the country, so what's the country environment that you're going to invest inside because you're outside looking in? It's very hard for people to get outside of their little box that they're in for the room. But as you said, they need to take a step back. And the advice is you need to look at this, this and this. And there's been a lot of pushback. And that's what I find strange when you're actually getting advice from people that do it for a career, that live it. You're pushing back and you've never done this before in your life. So I struggle with that.
Oh, and every year we see it, don't we? It's just like, pull your heads in and take this advice on the chin. And you're not supposed to be an expert. You weren't chosen as a block contestant because you already have sensational design and building skills. You're here to learn, and maybe this is just, you know, a personality type. I don't know, but you think you'd be going, thank you for the feedback. Thank you so much. I'm going to suck that in like a sponge. But I guess everyone's egos, you know, are there as well. And ego is not a dirty word. You've got to have pride in what you've created. But yeah, just a little bit more listening, perhaps.
But I think that the fact that they turn around and say, oh, but that's your personal opinion. It's not my personal opinion. It's my professional opinion. And that's where, you know, I live in the area. Darren and Neil have done the tree change professionally as investors, but to live as well. And you've done it as well, Shelley. Scotty's done it. Like, if ever there was a collective of heads to give advice, it is all of us. That's what I'm finding a little bit strange so early in the piece. As you said, they should be soaking it up like a sponge.
Well, they all have their comeuppance, don't they, at one point or another throughout the game. So
True.
Yeah, we've seen some really interesting first bathrooms created. We've seen some crazy, beautiful guest bedrooms, and you'd be, you know, delighted to be a guest in any of these homes, I would think. And now we're getting really into the thick of the game, aren't we? You know, once you've done a bedroom and a bathroom, you're pretty much on a roll for the rest of the block. You should have sucked up all that information that the judges have given you for both of those spaces, and now it's about honing that particular style or skill, moving into those other rooms. So for this week to see those second bathrooms created, which were the masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. Some are still questioning what on earth's going on, and others like Omar and Oz, the bathroom kings, as we've labelled them now, they really just plain nailed it, didn't they?
And to tell you the truth, all of us judges, have no idea the drama that they go through to produce that room. We are only allowed to judge what we see and feel and touch on the day. And finding out that they were laying those tiles in the morning, they had to rip them up, kudos to them. We had no idea that was the situation. And we don't want to know because it's not fair. We're meant to just judge what we see because that's what a buyer would do. Whatever's presented to you is what you have to judge on. So for them to actually do the delivery they did, and they were still tiling and grouting at 4:30 in the morning, was just absolutely incredible to present that quality.
That's it. I think that was extraordinary. And for those boys particularly, I mean, Oz's catchphrase is, "It is what it is." And he just seems so calm and controlled all the way through, and he just takes it every step. I mean, he had Dan and Keith on their hands and knees, scrubbing that bathroom. And I'm sure, as you say, if you had seen that or heard about that in the process, well, they've got to get a couple of brownie points, for effort, don't they? But what you judged on the day was just a beautifully presented, finished room. Let's stick with the boys' bathroom. That beautiful walk-through shower. That's something we haven't seen on the block before, and it was such a lovely, lovely concept.
And that's the thing, I remember Neil saying right at the beginning, and we say this every year, show us something we haven't seen before. And so it just ignites you and gets you so excited, thinking, wow, they're really up for the challenge, trying to bring something different. And, having the double showers with separate doors, it was beautiful, and just the curved little seat. It was, I don't know, there was something special about it. And I did say it felt like a boutique country club. And it was quite intimate because, we were in a couple of other bathrooms that were they had a massive footprint. But this one was, they can only work with what they've got. And so we always look at the challenges of a smaller space is much harder than giving the gift of a big bathroom. So the fact they could fit in a double shower, a double vanity, a toilet and a round bath was just phenomenal for people who haven't done it before. Hello?
No, and lots of features in there, because by the time you get to House 5, you've seen 4 beautiful bathrooms, and they are, they're magnificent, each one of them in their own right. You'd think you'd get to the end and go, oh, yeah, saw that. But they actually presented some different ideas, some new ideas, and almost it was this culmination of everything that you and Neil and Darren had said throughout the other 4 bathrooms. Oh, if only they didn't put the bathroom in the corner. Oh, if only they didn't do this. And the boys, without knowing any of that, they had actually done the best of all of those aspects, which is why they got the 1. But the scores were tight.
They were. And I think also the fact that it was very contemporary, but still had that element of tradition, because it made a nod to textures and it made a nod to, the light timbers, and, it was really the main traditional pattern was just on the floor. And, they had the traditional sort of taps and a bit of cornicing. That's all it needed. Every time I say pay respect to the building, it's just those few elements. I'm not saying you have to go for a period replica of what the homes be. And that balance was really great. So I hope the contestants understand that and see it, because that's a pure example of that beautiful combination of period and contemporary.
And then in Encore and Sharon's, we saw, there was a lot going on in that room, and I think the space obviously helped, the fact they did have that gigantic footprint. I think if all those features had been in a smaller room, I don't think your comments would have been quite so generous.
Well, and the thing is also, because we had that sense of space, you could breathe, and the view, oh my goodness, having a bath and a shower with that view is just phenomenal. But the thing is also, because it's very busy, there's a lot there, so it could get lost. So it was magical, and I loved their space planning, and I loved, the double fireplace, even though we'll have to see how that comes as a peekaboo later on. I wouldn't have a clue. But at the same time, just the placement of some things, like people get very caught up in the matchy, and we have to have everything. And the hand towel holders at eye height, as well as the sconces, as well as that very over-the-top chandelier. It wasn't set on the night, but I found the chandelier too overwhelming overwhelming, especially with the sconces. They could have actually had that beautiful chandelier with contemporary sconces and contemporary handles and things like that, and then that just would have really had that beautiful mix. So, you know, I have said that they need to edit. I think the ideas, I think the fact that they've taken it out of the box and really given us something different and challenging, and I think they've done a beautiful job. But now, because they're not professionals, it's time to just learn how to pull back. And just because you do a traditional chandelier, all the rest doesn't have to follow, because we are getting that mix of contemporary and period.
Well, now that you're sitting back on the couch watching the show, actually getting to know the contestants, do you believe Sharon and Encore know how to pull it back? Do you think there is any subtlety in Sharon?
I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried. I think, you know, Sharon said it perfectly. She said, well, I am theatrical. I'm an actress. That's what I do. Absolutely. But what I find is that I love her imagination. I love her enthusiasm. I really struggle with how hard she pushes back so that she does whatever she wants, and if it doesn't come out how she wants, she gets upset at people going, oh, but that's personal. And it's like, oh, no, we're just telling you what you're doing is too much. And she's the one taking incredibly personal and not being able to separate the two. So I don't know how that's going to play out, because, as I said, I don't see what they're like during the week. But I think she's taking everything on creatively, personally, as an actress would do, but at the same time not listening when we're not saying it's bad, we're just saying listen, pull back, edit, and, you know, that's up to her whether she takes it on.
Thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to see more of you on the block this season. Your fabulous outfits and, of course, your to die for comments that I know people are at home taking notes. What am I going to do in my bathroom? What's Shaynna going to say about this particular thing? Did I really like it, or now that Shayna's dissed it, am I not interested in that at all?
Can I just say one thing about the fashion? Like, I have to laugh about the outfit I had on the episode before, because it was all about, I had the yellow and everything, and people are going, oh my God, she's done high vis fashion. I have a sense of humour, guys. I do know that. I do know what's going on. I do know there's yellow. I do know it's a high vis. And it's just, people take themselves so seriously and think that I do. And if you look at my sense of humour, I'm not there in a fashion frock. I'm actually just there having a bit of fun and bringing something different for people to say yes, whether they like it or not. The way people comment about what I'm wearing, saying, you know, there's something wrong with you, you've got it wrong, you need to sack that. Like, the brutality of what I'm wearing sometimes, it's like, guys, have a sense of humour.
Who gives a crap is what I say
Exactly.
to that. I'd probably get the same. Gee, she didn't even bother to dress up this time. I'm like, we are thigh deep in mud. It is freezing effing cold out there. I'm surrounded by people who haven't slept in a month now. So the worst thing I can do is turn up looking all shiny. It's funny. But maybe we need to put up some shots of what you guys do get around in, because I know you've got gumboots on, you're hoiking your skirt up, you've got, doonas wrapped around you, riding on the Kubota from block to block. It's only when you actually get inside the finished room that the heels go on, the hem comes down, and lighten up, everybody.
Lighten up.
The Official Block podcast is sponsored by Simmons, the great Australian builder. Every day at Simmons, our people stand by our promise to be with you throughout your new home journey. Over the last 70 years, Simmons have seen and dealt with it all. And despite today's trade and material shortages, our size and strong relationships means we'll deliver on what we promise. So if you're ready to join the thousands of Australians we're welcoming home each month, talk to Simmons, the great Australian builder. Find out more at simmons.com.au. CDB-U 49491.
Here's a hot tip. If you're loving this podcast and want to hear it while it's hot and fresh, make sure you tap the follow or subscribe button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Can I add one? Oh!
Let's go!
Once is luck, but twice, well, that's just plain skill.
Omar and Oz are on their way to becoming the bathroom kings.
Although, considering their entire bathroom floor was ripped up on Saturday morning, there had to have been a little bit of luck in the mix. All rise for the bathroom kings. It is Omar and Oz. Gentlemen, clap yourselves in. Yes, great work.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Congratulations. 2 winning bathrooms in as many weeks. You guys are getting pretty good at this. What do you put it down to? What's your secret of your success?
I think if you win once, you kind of just follow the same ways that it taught you that first week. There was a bit of luck involved, a bit of planning. We just put it all together and it just came out very beautiful. Personally, I love this one so much more than the first one. So
Me too.
Same.
I think it is the most beautiful bathroom on the block, to be honest.
Ever.
Ever.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, maybe ever.
I haven't watched much Block, but I'd love to see a better bathroom than that one.
Well, I bet you have watched more Block in the last 3 weeks than you have ever watched in your life. Are you enjoying seeing yourselves on the telly?
Yes, I think so. It's just I have to train a bit more. Some of the angles is terrible, but
We all say that.
to be honest, Shelley, I think this win was different. Resilience was written all over it. Our glue did fail earlier, but it all came down to, do we allow our failures to define us? What Keith and Dan said, guys, it's not another room for you guys to win. And for us to get that over the line and get the win is something just to prove to everybody. Do not give up in life. Just keep pushing forward and go with the flow, baby. Let's go.
It's a beautiful message, Oz. You were the only one in the room when that conversation was happening. I don't know where Omar was. He was off getting more tiles. But knowing you better now than I did then, there was a look in your eye when Keith and Dan said, sorry, fellas, don't worry about it. Just write this one off. There was kind of this steeliness in your gaze to them that went, no way, man. We're going to try as hard as we can to get this done. And I don't think for a second you gave up. There wasn't an it is what it is from you at that point. There was definitely, you can think what you like, but I'm going to do everything in my power to make this happen.
100%. To be honest, it all comes down to how we got brought up. Never give up. Dad's taught us to always, yes. But, if you fail now, it gives you one step closer to success. So when they did look him in the eye and say to me, no, bro, Omar's already on the way to get another set of floor tiles. I'm going to get on my knees and scrub it and get over the line.
And you might be the first contestants in history that have ever got the Blockinator down on his knees helping out. He's a buckled old mess, that Keefy. He's got more injuries than any tradie I've ever met. And to get him and Dan both down there helping you out just proves that there was a never give up, never die attitude going on in that room that day.
Of course, and it all comes down to on how we negotiate. We could possibly say we are the negotiating kings, right? So I made Keith and Dan look at my puppy dog eyes, and I'm like, hey, bro, get down and help us.
Well, the fact too that it wasn't your fault. Sometimes our tools fail us, and whatever had happened to make that become the problem of the day, they knew it wasn't an error of yours, which is why they jumped in to lend a hand. Hey, the word of the disaster spread pretty quickly. We know that the old bush telegraph works fast, but I think the block telegraph works even faster. The whisperings around the other houses. Omar, how did you feel about the fact that everybody knew you'd had a disaster in your house? There was a fault line there.
You know what? They probably were really excited, right? It is a competition at the end of the day. I'm glad we made them feel like they were in with a chance and then just took it away from them come Sunday, right?
You just gave them this inkling of hope. Do you reckon that's what it was?
The best feeling in the world is when you give someone a little bit of hope and you take it away from them, especially on the block.
Cruel. Hey, the judges were incredibly impressed with what you had delivered. There were some design aspects in there that we haven't seen on the block before. Whose idea was that gorgeous walk-through shower?
To be honest, both. We first saw the actual bathroom and where the French doors were in the bathroom. I think there was no other way we could have fit a bath in it, and we were both very desperate to get a bathtub in a master ensuite. Our next step was how are we going to get it in, fit in a double vanity and a double shower. And I think the idea of the nib wall just made everything work so well together. So it was just one of those things. We wanted things in that bathroom that were non-negotiables, and once we realised we had to put them in, the next step was to find a way to do it.
Well, beautiful planning. I mean, Shaynna was literally speechless, almost breathless, some would say, in her reaction to your bathroom.
She's the one that we struggled with the first 2 weeks. I mean, she gave us, I think she gave us the lowest score both weeks now. So to get Shaynna on board, it was a very good feeling.
You've got her now. You've just got to keep her for the rest of the series.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
Well,
Yes.
that's gonna last.
And I don't know how much toilet paper you can just put in a bedroom for the sake of it, but that toilet paper origami is definitely a winning stroke. You just need to put a roll on every bookshelf of every room from now on in.
Yeah.
This time I had more than 5 minutes to design it, so it gets better and better every week. So
How did you have more than 5 minutes?
it's just the way we allocate time to each other. So this time I went more for a little fold, flip, turn. This one was more of a flowerful moment.
And have you done it at home since, Oz? Does your family get the luxury of this newfound talent that you have?
Never. So what you see on the block, I definitely do not do at home. Exclusive.
Like so many things, I hope. There's always the opportunity for the open house to go and see everybody else's creations that week. Just give us a run through of what you thought of everybody else's bathrooms. If we can take you to House 1, Tom and Sarah Jane, they put some pretty tough competition going on there.
House 1's bathroom was really, really nice.
No shaving cabinets, just a mirror.
Oh, they didn't do cabinets again?
No.
Damn. No shaving
I think
cabinets.
they'd learn their lesson, wouldn't you? Their loss, hey?
Yeah, they're lost.
House 2, Rach and Ryan, their bathroom was called Bland. In the design world, that's like a dagger to the heart, isn't it?
Oh, you know what? That's what happens when you go around telling everyone you do renovations, right? They go a bit hard on you.
Not just renovations, bathroom renovations.
Interior designer, renovation experts. Well, how about that, guys?
I thought it was beautiful.
No, the bathroom was beautiful, but I think
It was amazing.
It's just, I think it's really hard. Like for Oz and I, when we came in to do this block, we kind of had ideas that we wanted to put into the our house, and to be honest, we probably didn't use any of them because it was. The judges were after something so much different to what we already knew. So we were kind of learning as we were going as well. And, you know, Rach and Ryan, their first bathroom was amazing as well. But I do understand what the judges were saying. So it's just difficult to kind of get it to that point if you haven't done it before. That's how we felt as well.
You're saying you're up for an all-star series, that you've got this whole other side to Omar and Oz, that a completely different house renovation in you. To come back and do it all again.
Get us to the city, man. Get us to the city.
The world hasn't seen anything yet.
Oh, look out. House number 3, Encore and Shower. It was an overload of senses in there, but a triumph in the judges' eyes all the same.
That beautiful aspect, they executed with the double-sided fireplace. Yes, it was see-through. The positioning of the toilet, yes, wrong. Beautiful freestanding bathtub. It was all good, but it was just too much. Yeah.
And now your beautiful besties, Dylan and Jen, they created a beautiful bathroom. They had a tough week too. They had shutdowns. They had no tiles.
Their bathroom was nice as well, honestly. I genuinely thought everyone had a good bathroom this week, and that's what made this win so much more for us. Like, we were so much happier. I'll be the first person to admit if someone else has a better room than us.
100%.
But this was one of those weeks where I just walked away and was like, we definitely deserve to win.
We still remember we looked over and we were like, yeah, we got the win. Honestly, like, we were driving to HQ on that day and we were like,
Yeah.
we got the win. Omar, do you feel it? He's like, Oz, I feel it. We've got the win. I'm like, well, I feel it too.
Because Saturday morning was so hard, like just with not knowing that would get there, it was so difficult. But come 9 o'clock when we just did those final touches on the bathroom, everything worked so perfect for us.
Omar, I'll take you back. I knew we were going to finish.
Oz did. Sorry,
Omar,
I
come
didn't.
on. Omar just seemed like that because he had to do a lot of far drives to pick up the tiles. I told him, we got this. Oz, we got this. We got this, bro.
All right, Bathroom Kings, it is time for a little game that we like to call the Royal Flush.
Wow.
Are you ready to play?
What is it?
Let's flush it.
Well, as the newly coronated Bathroom Kings, you join a distinguished list of royals with famously opulent and well-equipped bathrooms. After all, kings and queens still need to relieve themselves somewhere, right? So they may as well do it in style. I am going to name a historical king or queen, and you have to name the feature that made their royal bathroom famous. And to help you out, I'll give you a couple of choices.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's no prize, Omar, so you don't have to worry about like losing or being a loser
Hate
or
losing.
anything.
He definitely hates losing, guys.
Hate losing.
You're going to be a winner chicken dinner no matter what. Royal number 1, Marie Antoinette. She was the last Queen of France, and when she wasn't eating cake, she enjoyed a time in her bathroom which was well equipped with a historical first. Was it the first ever flushing toilet, or was it the first ever powered spa bath?
B.
I want to go flushing toilet.
Nah, first ever spa bath. Luxury.
Because there's the
Luxury,
let there be a winner
royalty.
between us. Let there be a winner between
Oh,
us.
okay.
then.
We wanna
Luxury.
play.
We'll play each other.
Luxury, royalty, spa bath.
Flush.
Well, you're wrong, Oz. Old mate, winner, takes out the win of the first one.
It's been a minute since there was a Queen of France.
It was the flushing toilet. Question number 2. Henry VIII, I am. He was the King of England in the early 1500s. He was a lover of marriage, he was a lover of divorce, he was a lover of beheadings, and he was also a lover of bathroom innovation. So in his Hampton Court Palace, his bathroom was the first to be fitted with what? A. Taps with hot and cold running water, or B. Double showers for him and his many, many wives.
Double showers.
Jeez.
Because he was a lover.
What about the beheading?
Yeah, you don't need 2 shower heads if you don't have 2 heads, do you? What do you need?
We'll get you.
A or B?
I want to go B as well.
No, why don't you just go A?
I'll go A.
Thank you.
He's going to go B.
Oh, right again, Omar, right again. He had cold and hot water, the first of its kind.
That's a good effort.
It is a good effort, isn't it?
So he wasn't a lover after all.
It was more a beheader.
Number 3, our beautiful Queen Lizzie, Queen Elizabeth II. For 70 years and counting, she has ruled the realm from London's Buckingham Palace, which is fitted with how many bathrooms? A, 67 bathrooms. B, 78 bathrooms. Or C, 89 bathrooms. Can you imagine having to build 89 bathrooms?
How big is the palace?
Well, it's Buckingham Palace.
10 acres.
It's
10 acres off the grid.
That's the original tree change.
Yeah, it is definitely a 7-star energy rating home, that one.
Oh, it is.
I'm gonna go 60. Was it 67?
That was A, 67.
I'll go B. I went for B for the whole time.
B was 78. Come on, yes, Oz, correct.
Oh, great work.
It was B, 78 bathrooms.
Let's go.
That's ridiculous.
Thanks, boys. That was a bit of fun.
That was awesome.
Finish up the day.
Great game.
Aren't you glad you made it the trip?
Yeah.
We'll
what
do
a
it
trip.
again.
Just got to keep winning, I guess.
You do. You only get to talk to me if, in fact, you win another room.
Really?
So there's some motivation for you.
Oh, we'll get one.
We'll see. Hey, if you're a little bit nervous watching yourselves on the telly, what are your kids thinking about it all?
That's you, Daddy. You look beautiful, Dad.
Oh,
Honestly, they sit before me and they're like, Dad, you're funny. Dad, oh, look at Uncle Omar.
That's cute.
But with the family there, we all sit together, big gathering with the feast and every episode. So, wow, poor mum has to cook all the time.
well, that's so lovely considering you hadn't watched a single episode of The Block before you came on. So thank you very much for your time every night.
Thanks, Shane. Oh, that's gold.
Don't miss The Block on 9 this week as the Blockheads race to complete their master suites, including the master bedroom and the walk-in robe. And never miss an episode by following the official Block podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. The Block podcast is thanks to Simmons Homes, the great Australian builder. I'll catch you next week. The official Block podcast is sponsored by Simmons, the great Australian builder. Every day at Simmons, our people stand by our promise to be with you throughout your new home journey. Over the last 70 years, Simmons have seen and dealt with it all. And despite today's trade and material shortages, our size and strong relationships means we'll deliver on what we promise. So if you're ready to join the thousands of Australians we're welcoming home each month, talk to Simmons, the great Australian builder. Find out more at simmons.com.au. CDB-U 49491.